Welcome back to Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw. With me today are my co-hosts, Matthew Aguilar and Janelle Wheeler. And
Good
this is
morning.
season 7, episode 15. I thought we should probably start marking these. 7 years in, we should probably start
Oh
marking
my
these
gosh.
episodes.
Congrats to
Uh,
us.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, we are in as the live stream is up. Our regulars are here. As Alex Glean points out on YouTube, we're entering the Janelle era of the year, the more content era, where
Let's
things are
go.
coming at us fast and furious. We got TV, we got movie again, we got gaming stuff. We got a lot to talk about today. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Topics for today will include the latest episode of Daredevil Born Again, some new updates about Fantastic Four First Steps. We got to talk about one TV show going out. That's the White Lotus Season 3. Another TV show coming in. That's Black Mirror Season 7. I saw 2 movies this week, if you can believe it. And Marvel's trying to do something with Spider-Man, and we got to get into it. We got to talk about Spider-Man. There's going to be some deep... It could be the bigger grenade of the show, so stay tuned for that. So, to the Spider-Man talk. But, and sorry, I didn't even look down here. Matt has stuff in his agenda, including more on Marvel Rivals Season 2, which I'm excited to hear about. So we're definitely getting into that. All right, let's get up top. Guys, Daredevil Born Again, Episode 8. We're getting down to it because, I made this big tease at the beginning of the season. I was burdened by knowledge. I got to see the whole season. I was very upfront about that. And so, I put out a tweet in the beginning. I'm about to go repin that, John, right now, where I was just telling people, it takes them. And I think I'm always accurate. I try to keep it vague so I don't spoil for you guys, but I think I'm pretty accurate when I just tell you things. And I said, it takes a minute, but we get there and, just strap it. And by the end, we may even go past some of the stuff we did before. So strap in for that. And I think this episode was... I know we kind of come to this subject every week with this show, but I think this was the episode where we are locking in to getting out of the mess of this jumbled thing we did and getting into the show we decided we're going to make. And this last 2 episodes are really, just the setup for the show we're actually supposed to get, which we already know from set photos looks dope as hell, which is Daredevil Season 2. So what did you guys think? Because I'm very curious, because I actually misremembered this episode a lot. I didn't remember. I thought a lot more of what I was really excited about was split between these 2 episodes. Now I'm just saying there's going to be one hell of a finale. I'll just put it out there. There's going to be one hell of a finale. Strap in for that, first of all. There's going to be one hell of a finale, because I forgot, honestly, that they had saved everything that they did for the finale. I was like, oh, they split this up over a couple episodes. Nah. All right, so strap in for the finale, and I'm going to say, and just say by the end, yeah, we are going to be ready. We'll be like, okay, well, that was a good primer, but yeah, hell yeah, we're ready for Daredevil. We are ready for Daredevil, the actual Daredevil Season 2. So what did you guys think about this episode? Am I bugging? Am I getting too hyped?
No, this is an amazing episode. I obviously, a lot happened in it, but the thing that really just set me off was the end. It's hard for me to even recall everything leading up to it, because this end moment was so pivotal and insane. And I'm just going, why did you do that to Daredevil? What, Matt, what are you doing? Why did you do that?
Well, I think it speaks to the tightness. This is what I mean about this episode being the actual show. This isn't an attempt to save. Everything in this episode matches. So in the scene before, he goes to see Dex, and Dex is like, I want you to defend me. And Matt's like, yeah, you're crazy. Why would I do that? And he says to him, because you're a good man. And that's what a good man would do. He would even defend his worst enemy. And I know that's who you are. And that's what pisses Matt off and makes him, do the Daredevil scream, as people have said, and bash his face into the table, is because it happens a couple times. This episode, I love. First of all, do you guys know that this episode's really good and there is no Daredevil in it? There's not a single scene of Daredevil. It's
My God, I didn't think about that.
really just Charlie Cox
That's amazing.
doing his thing, which is in the fact exactly you don't notice, and like the fact that it's still so compelling. It's just Charlie Cox doing his thing, and this is a range of things he's doing. Um, there is, I'll say, there is a little bit of flub in this because there is kind of like a rushing. They're taking all the pieces of what they strung together, and they're just saying it's all too much. And Matt's having like this big blow up. I get that, so there is a little bit of contrivance there, but it's Charlie Cox, and he can do it, and he can handle it. And so for scene, there is this whole theme in this episode of him being confronted with hard truths that he like literally and figuratively does not want to see. That's like his whole tit for tat with Heather when she's like, "Oh no, those two guys were just nuts. They were both nuts. I had to get myself out of that situation," which has become this meme now for bros, for Rogan bros who are freaking out like, "See, they don't appreciate us." And I'm like, "Bro, shut up." Like, you know. But it is so well written. Like that's where I was just like, I had forgotten in this episode because I was binging so fast through the screeners that how well written
Yeah.
the episode is, and like how
Very, yeah.
an
Very well written.
TV that comes together, that brings everything together emotionally, like plot wise, and all of this stuff to this moment that we get in the end. And I was just like, damn, that was really good TV. I'm
It
sorry, Matt.
felt I'm not sure if this, like, is actually if this is it, but the scene where we have, like, Kingpin and his wife, like, walking down the stairs in the white suit and the red dress, it just looked like a comic book to me, so it just, like I'm not sure if that's actually a scene from a comic book. If it was, good job, but it just felt like a comic book, so little things like that even just make me happy, like, I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I'm reading a book in this scene right here," and I will say though, Kofi, thank you for telling me and reminding me what happened in this episode because truly, that is how I will end my discussion of this. All I can think of is like where are we going from here because of where we left off, and I'm just like my brain is just so fixated on Kingpin. Like I'm just going, what is he thinking after this save? Like I just, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about it. So Matt, what did you think?
Um, yeah, I mean that's an excellent episode of TV, and I mean I have like certain issues with like parts of like certain parts of the build, but I gotta say like last episode was great too, but this one did really kind of shake up the Marvel formula a little bit as far as like typically like Marvel penultimate episodes. Like they got about a 50-50 track record. Sometimes they are a big swing and a miss. Sometimes they are front loaded and then the finale sucks. Or sometimes they don't have enough that happens in them and then they save it all for the finale episode. This one I mean, look, I do hope the finale can deliver, right? Because that's a hell of a. I mean, this could have been a finale. Like this episode is so good, it could have been a season finale. So if that's what
I
they
had
have
to
for
check.
the
I had to
second to
Google
last
to
season,
make sure. I was like,
right? Yeah,
was this
it's that
it?
good. It's that good.
So good.
And again, this all comes down to uh Michael Gandolfini is so good in that role.
Yeah.
He's so good in that character. But like and there's so many like BB Urich is great. Like there's so many shining stars in the kind of outside of just Matt and Fisk, but those two are just kind of operating on a
Yeah.
different level.
Let's talk BB for a minute because this was the moment that I knew that they were beginning to nail the synthesis, that they were getting this. First of all, I'll say about the finale. All I'm going to say about the finale is one strength of finale is the finale weaves things in a way you do not see coming. I guarantee the first 10 minutes of the finale will blow your mind. You'll be like, "Oh my god, I didn't see any of that coming." Like, but it makes total sense. This episode is where you begin to see that they are nailing the synthesis of incorporating all that Netflix mythos and putting it in this new MCU setting. Like, and that was what BB was for me. Because I didn't want to speak up about this till we got here. But because I couldn't have the conversation naturally, because I've seen screeners, obviously. So I had seen this episode. But Yeah, when they introduced BB, the first thing I got really deeply worried about, I was like, if this character has no kind of consistency with her uncle and what happened and that crazy harrowing twist in that first season of Daredevil, like where Kingpin just outright murdered him, like then this show is kind of the concept is kind of bankrupt if they don't do that. So when the shoe drops in this episode and she drops the mask, I was like, oh, I was that Denzel meme, like, oh, oh, thank God, because yeah, they're not ignoring the Netflix mythos. They remember every bit of that, and they're now taking that and weaving it in, but in a way that's not like so obtrusive. Like if you haven't seen the Netflix thing, you naturally go, oh, what's that about? And you might go look it up or go look at it. But for those of us who watched it, we're like, okay, finally, like this girl makes sense. Like everything she's done now makes sense. And it's an actual twist. It's like, okay, why she bends, and compromises for Gandolfini in that episode. You're like, oh, she's just another opportunistic blogger or whatever. But it's like, no, she's playing a longer game and like a more dangerous game. And now there's stakes for her because now you're also now worried about her. And those innocent scenes with her and Daniel are now not so innocent and harmless, right? They're kind of a cat and mouse
like,
game.
I'm going to work.
Yeah, and she puts on the face, oh, shots!
So cool. That was cool.
Other people have pointed it out, and I got to point it out as a connoisseur of the fine liqueurs. They say shots, and then they grab champagne flutes. Like, you're getting booted out of Nashville. You see Janelle's face. You're getting booted out of Nashville and Philadelphia for that kind of behavior.
But that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
That kind of behavior will get you booted out of Nashville and Philly. So don't like,
Yeah. And Orlando, like any city that
is drinks. Yeah. If you say shots to me and you approach me with a flute of anything, like I'm gonna be like I'm gonna do a spin move over you to the bar and be like, bartender,
tequila.
I mean, but that gets
that
even more sinister. Yeah, I know, but that's sinister. Like, why are you bringing me a flute of tequila? Like, that's just not a thing that should be yeah. That's your friend that has like some weird designs on the evening. Like, yeah, the one who's going to get you in a police report, but they're mysteriously always gone when that action shows up. She was like, oh, I was down the beach with this guy. Oh, you're like, man. Yeah, man. Anyway, we're getting off topic. So, good thing. What did you guys think? I love the parallel at the end. You were talking about when Matt saves him, but the painting, they even give it to you in this episode. They show you the painting with the blood again, where they go and take care of Adam. And then
I forgot about Adam. I'm telling you.
Was that triggering? Was that triggering for you for all your Vinny D'Onofrio possible fantasies?
Yes,
man.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Because
I was so caught up in the end there.
You wanted Fisk.
Yeah,
I know. Right? He's back, baby. Yeah. Like, and he warned me. Like Vincent warned me. He's like, Janelle, it gets crazy, and I was like, okay.
We also have to have more Janelle Vincent D'Onofrio impressions from.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's gotta
be a thing.
It's going to be a thing. Yeah,
more of my like Fisk voice than.
Yeah. So Vanessa, I'm glad that we brought that all together. There's a lot of things that come together in this episode. You talk about a penultimate episode, but this episode was doing the work of just basically salvaging all of this series and pulling it together into something kind of cohesive, because think about all that final scene in the ballroom and all the things it fixes. This episode closes down the whole Fisk therapy, couple therapy thing that we didn't care about that much. Because, we really, in the end, these two only have one kind of therapy, and we got it, right? People got to get shot in the head. Luca's got to get shot in the head. Adam's got to get shot in the head. Now we're better. So we close that whole thing off. The weird extraneous bullseye thing from the first episode that they tacked on is no longer so extraneous. We get this awesome thing where Wilson Belfield gets to cook again. The tooth thing is nasty. That was gnarly. Everything with Poindexter in this. The Foggy thing actually becomes a twist again, because we find out that the wrong Fisk was responsible for this, and that's a great scene. I love how the show also uses Matt's powers and just the simple dynamics of like eavesdropping and all that to kind of help him do all that. Like, so we kind of get that whole thing brought back around in a compelling way, because that's an awesome dynamic. Like, because Matt and Fisk have had this stalemate, right? But what happens if Matt's pissed at Vanessa and Fisk is standing there like, you do not threaten Vanessa? You know, like that whole thing is going to get crazy again. Like, it's so, like, yeah, man, there's a lot of,
The
and Bullseye
Fisk
still,
impressions today are amazing.
and, you know, and Bullseye's back in play. So we got a lot done in this episode. And like we cut and I feel like we've cut through all the angst of Matt's trying to live this other life storyline. I feel like we also just brought that to a head, right? It's like, nah, I now know, I feel like I've done nothing for the law. I now know who killed my boy. Like, it's up. Like, yeah, as soon as I get this bullet out of my chest, it's up for everybody. Like, you know, we're going to war again. And, you know, there we go. So even though there's no Daredevil and not a lot of like fight sequences, hallway stuff in this episode, it did a lot of work, like quite a lot of work for scene. So I don't know. Dead air.
Sorry, I was muted. It's
No, it's okay.
I hit my button. I just think, and this goes back to like we had this kind of discussion about probably a couple episodes ago. I can't remember exactly which episode of Daredevil it was. Probably, it might have been 3 and 4, because we got into a little bit of a debate there, which was great. But this episode really reflects how I'm really okay for the most part. Like the things they are carrying over from the original series, they're giving meaning to. They're spinning it out to characters. BB's a huge like example of that. The stuff with Fisk, the stuff with Castle, right? Like they're doing some really interesting things there. But for the most part, they've left that trilogy of seasons behind at this point. Like at this point, this feels like, oh, okay, we're kind of in the Born Again era. We've carried over what we want for the most part, and we're kind of leaving some of that stuff behind. And that includes like, Foggy, that includes Karen, that includes those characters and also some of the storylines that entangled with them. And I am, as this season goes on, like more and more happy about that. I like where we are. I am okay not like picking up every single thread, and I thought this episode did a good job, like Kofi was saying, of like picking the things we want to touch on enough, and then let's move forward. Like I'm ready to we don't have to keep doing that. We don't have to keep looking in the rearview mirror and go, oh, did we get that thing? Did we get that? I'm good. Like let's just keep moving, and then you cherry pick stuff along the way. So we're finally there, and I'm glad we're there. So yeah, I think the future is bright. This episode right here made me 10 times more hyped for season 2. I wasn't actually that hyped for season 2 about midway through this season. I was like, oh cool, we get more Daredevil, cool. Like I was like, and even seeing like, look, I mean, I'm not gonna like point out things seen in set photos or whatever, but like, starting to see that stuff circulate around, and you're like, okay, cool, I see what they're doing and whatever, and I still wasn't that hyped. I was like, oh cool. And as we have the last 2 episodes especially, but this one even more, I am now excited for season 2, and I wasn't before. So credit to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think season 2 is already some of the set photos. All I'll say about that is I think they are correcting one thing that I think will be an undeniable flaw with season 1, which is, and it's pointed out, it comes to a head in this episode a little bit. And it's been something we've touched on several times this season, which is there is the major subplot of this. And I think in the original show, this was what they were doing with the larger, like we were going to have an episode of the week format, right? But it was going to be still a larger storyline. And I think what they had in mind based on episode 2 and 3 was that the episode of the week would be Matt essentially taking on vigilante cases. and we would meet like a variety of vigilante characters who were in different situations and facing the law and facing and trying to get, the whole concept of what is justice, what is, all of this, and Matt spending the season trying to stay away from that and just representing these people before he inevitably gets sucked back into it because of the injustice, or Kingpin doing the anti-mask law and the task force and all that. But in this, what they've been able to cut together, you can see that they just didn't have enough of that built out. So you get these random, like, little home cam shots of White Tiger fighting people. Oh, look, he was White Tiger. Or Swordsman is the other one. Which is this huge thing that we had. And I don't want to beat up on Daredevil for this because I don't think it's its fault entirely. But we went through Hawkeye with Homeboy from from Better Call Saul. I mean, he plays a psycho in Better Call Saul. That man is scary. But him playing like Kate Bishop's, stepdad or whatever, and us all knowing the name, writing all these swordsman theories, doing all that show doing nothing with that, essentially. And then just having it kind of pop up as a little blurb in this show, like a little footage of, him having a little sword fight in a basketball court in New York somewhere, and then having him at the party and being like, oh, well, we know you're swordsman in this episode, and that being like supposed to be a twist. But like, again, this show, when it falls flat for me, whenever we're doing that, because it's also the task force thing. We get a cool scene with the task force guys and that one cop who shows up consistently through here to let us know the task force are douches. But like,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. But there is obviously another major part of this show that was going to be the vigilantes and the task force beginning to crack down on who they, like, what's happening in New York City in terms of superheroing. But right now we have that's just all abstract to us. Like, there is no ripple effect of that across the MCU anywhere. So we don't, like, is Spider-Man 4 gonna have a scene where Spider-Man's dodging, Kingpin's task force? Because theoretically it should, right? Like, that should be kind of the thing, or whatever shows. And like, which shows are going to deal with this, or how are we ever going to explore this except in Daredevil season 2, which, again, set photos let me know there will be more that, like, here's what's actually happening on the street in the heroing community, like, as this is taking, as whatever is happening, whatever rolls out from what Kingpin has set in motion. So it's an undeniable flaw in this season, like that whole subplot and everything that we're supposed to be worried about with this task force has just kind of been scenes of Kingpin making, issuing directives from an office.
Yeah, and that's why the White Tiger stuff feels rushed. That's why I didn't like it. Like, it feels hollow. I understand what they were trying to do, but unless something changes in the finale, by the way, going back to that, they didn't land that play. Because unless something happens in the finale that drastically changes context on that whole story, to me, that still rings as like this season's biggest weakness is that whole thing. Because it didn't do justice. It didn't earn a lot of those moments. And that was early. And I was kind of hoping along the way. And yes, we've, seen bags of evidence, whatever. Like, that crap doesn't hold water for me until actually you do something with it. So until then, it's like I'm still kind of waiting for that, and that hasn't played out like I hoped. So I agree with you. I think the vigilante parts of this are the weakest, because other than them saying, "Oh, they're cracking down," that's the extent of. And now we know, like, hey, don't get the task force next to a friar. Other than those two things, the task force has done jack. That's all in someone saying they're threatening. They haven't actually done much of anything, right? So that was part of the fun of like something like Dark Reign, or living in those worlds of this space and like getting to see like the actual effect that's when tie-ins shine, right? When you have comic tie-ins, you have Luke Cage dealing with, okay, I have to operate the Heroes for Hire operating on the streets when there's a vigilante task force out there, right? It's why Civil War, some of those tie-ins of like, hey, Reed and his buddies want to lock you up in a prison and you're trying to like just save people and have that as this hovering thing looming over you, that's when that stuff hits. And so to this point, they haven't been able to do that. Right? I don't think there's just enough space. I don't know even what I would take out of like this episode or even the last one to really like make room for that. So I don't even know, like, other than adding episodes, if that's solvable other than just scrapping it entirely, right? So I think they've done the best that they can with what it was.
And it's like, you can only cut so much, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can only recut things so much. I question where that White Tiger storyline was in the original show. To me, and this is just speculation, I felt like it was more of a culminating thing. Like, I feel like there was supposed to be like a lot more blips and subplot of White Tiger doing, because they kept stressing he was the only one looking into like the Muse stuff, right?
Yeah.
He was the only one caring about his community and doing that. I feel like there was supposed to be so much more build up with that, because in the old Daredevil show, we followed non-Matt characters a lot. Like, that show split up screen time a lot. And I felt like there was supposed to be a subplot about this man in his neighborhood investigating things that we find out is White Tiger. And then he goes into this thing, and then he ends up in a situation where he's on trial, and his death is actually like a culminating moment for Matt. Right. Like, where it's like he's been spending time fighting these court cases, all that, and then all of a sudden one of his clients gets off and then gets his brains blown out because Kingpin has a task force. And that was kind of like going to be the impetus for more of why he begins to really spaz out and go backwards. So, yeah, I think cutting it up and throwing it in the second episode and that whole kind of, what that was supposed to be got very compressed to down. Because again, when you think about where we are with the task force now, like, yeah, episode 3 ends with them going out. Like, that's the most drastic thing we see them do, is go out on the street and just outright execute a vigilante after he got done with a court case. Then after that, it's been like very muted with them. So I feel like, again, that was supposed to be more of a culminating thing where we hit a breaking point where, boom, that stuff was happening. Not like early on, and then just let's chill for a couple episodes. Oh, wait, task force again, like, but here we are. We're making the best with what we got. And wow, we did a lot on this episode. I didn't think we were going to go so deep on this, but here we are.
It was Nintendo. It was Switch 2 last week, and this week it's Daredevil.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm glad to
moving
see the
on.
Fisks back, and I'm glad Vanessa's still around. I love that actress. I don't want to butcher her name. Superman's mom, the Man of Steel mom. Yeah. So let's talk Janelle, Fantastic Four!
More content. I love in the show notes you actually wrote like more content revealed. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you for knowing
I'm just
me.
here. I'm here.
Gosh, if you guys haven't seen it, there's been a bunch of quick little like articles written on comicbook.com that are kind of going fully into detail about several things we're going to hit. But this is all Fantastic Four first steps, info, and tidbits and things for us to latch onto and get excited about. So we'll start with the first thing that I'm most excited about, and that is Sue Storm.
Oh, sorry. I set you up wrong. I just to put it in context, this was from Empire Magazine, their latest issue. The cover story and the featured article in it is about Fantastic Four first steps. I think they did a whole PR rollout. EW got something. So there's been a whole PR rollout this week. There's photos. I actually forgot to put the photo link, so I'm going to get those up so you can react in real time while you're cooking here. But
I'm excited.
Yeah, so this is all a PR rollout for Fantastic Four first steps that happened this week.
Right, because they're really starting to step it up now. Like it's go time, baby. Like they gotta get going on this. So the Sue Storm information, like that story is the one that really I clung to the most, that I just really loved, because I am so new to Fantastic Four. I don't know a lot about it. And so it was touched on that she could possibly be Malice. So after reading this beautiful, well-written article, I'm now realizing that Sue Storm actually had an entire, run where she became like evil and really crazy, and like a lot of very intense things happen. She defeated She-Hulk And wasn't it that like the Fantastic Four like die or something? Like she's really hateful and awful. This is all due to Psycho Man. I'm like, there's a lot here. And if they're going into this,
I
that's
love
going to
comics.
be a lot to cover in this film. But I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, go. You
Vanessa
cook on
Kirby.
this.
No. I was just saying Vanessa Kirby. Well, what she said is interesting, I think,
Mhm.
because she said she studied the character and she gave this great interview about how she was very interested in building Sue Storm as like a 360-degree concept of a woman, not just happy-go-lucky like mommy to like Reed's happy 1960s wife and mom, but like, you know, a complex woman.
Yeah, she
Um,
says she likes it. She said she
yeah,
read into the history and she loves the dark stuff, which
yeah.
is the
So she
malice
said,
side.
which was interesting, and so she said that like
Yeah.
when she read everything, and so when she's building her character of Sue Storm in her head, she took all those elements of malice and added them so to make sure, and she didn't say they're going that way, you know, we say they're going that way, but she didn't say they would ever go that way, but she was just pointing out that if they do something like that, she wants the breadcrumbs of that character evolution to be there from the very start, so it doesn't look, and she's being very diplomatic, so it doesn't look crazy like it did in the comics, right? Like in the comics, it looked like Sue Storm went out, you know, sniffed a little coke one night, went nuts, and then threw on a dominatrix outfit and was like, "Let's get busy. I'm gonna break bad and do all the freaky stuff I've always
Malice,
wanted to do."
baby.
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously a male creator's fantasy, right? Like good girl break bad. That's like classic basement dwellers fantasy of a woman. You know, what if I
But
find
I
a
like the
good
way that they
girl? Like,
described
yeah,
it because I read deep into it and they said that like the reason why was because of her miscarriage. Like that's why she snapped
yeah.
in the comics.
Yeah, there's a lot of like again, there was a lot of this is how we dealt with these things back then, and it must seem
Yeah.
hilarious too, especially to Vanessa Kirby, who's got her most acclaim for playing a woman who has a miscarriage during a home birth, and you know that was her Academy Award nominated breakout role in a
Wow.
movie I will only watch once. The first
Mm,
20 minutes of that movie I will only watch one time in my life, and that was it. But yeah, so it must have been hilarious to her. So she's building something better, like
mhm.
essentially. But it's interesting that she's going to put that in there because while we may not get dominatrix malice, we don't forget. Don't let the Russos fool you. We saw that Avengers do, you know, that concept art for Doomsday, and there's definitely a scene in that in which Sue Storm is kind of by Doom's side in a throne room, and there was a Reed in chains, and that was very specific. I feel like that one was way too specific to be just some concept guys, you know, imagining. I feel like that's going to be a concept of what happens if Reed's family gets taken away and he gets essentially cuckolded, which, you know, memes about this will be great. But yeah, if Doom supplants him and becomes, you know, the patriarchal center of his family instead, including taking Sue. So, or for whatever reason, for whatever kind of happens to her to change her, alter her, or do whatever. So that's interesting to me. That was very interesting to me. And it's just good to hear Vanessa Kirby talk because you can tell like she's an actress, like, and she's not in the way she's approaching this. It's not like you're not hearing Dakota Johnson talk about it, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, but you know exactly what I'm saying, right? Like,
No comment.
yeah, she's
Oh
saying
man.
it's showing she's taking this seriously. She has respect for the material, for the
Yeah.
character, and approaching it like a
I
serious
love
part,
that.
Oof.
and building it like a serious part. So, like, it's just like
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's
I
awesome.
it's
agree
not
with
like,
you
no, I
wholeheartedly.
don't read comics. I don't know Madam Web. I don't know who she is. Like, we're not doing that.
Just
So, like,
just from that one interview, she has like already done so much to inspire confidence in her taking on that character, because that is again like, and the choices they are making for this movie, from Sue's perspective, Johnny. I'm liking the stuff I'm hearing about Johnny already, about how they're kind of changing things up there too, and trying to kind of they're making some good choices. I mean, they're doing enough to really start to get me excited. I forget what I rated this on our hype 2025 meter. I
Oh, I
can't
forget
remember
it
what I rated
too.
this, but with this rollout so far, I mean, it's moving. They're moving up. They're doing the job. It's working.
It kind of brings us
Yeah.
to the next point of like this next character that we're going to reveal, because obviously they did show that she was pregnant and they're teasing that this could be her first child in the comic books, which is the boy, and who is arguably one of the most powerful anythings in Marvel, Franklin Richards. What do you
And
guys think about
just
that?
happens to be an Omega level mutant. I don't know if we can still say mutant. I don't know if we can still say that,
Yeah,
but
that
I'm
was
gonna
weird.
say it
And who can like
is
literally manipulate like the thread
reality.
of
Oh yeah.
reality. And so of
So
course Doom would be after him.
yeah, and yeah, just a little MacGuffin we can have, a cute little MacGuffin who can alter reality. So
MacGuffin.
little thing to keep in your back pocket. But yeah, we've confirmed the pregnancy. They stop hiding that because fans were like, "Come on, man, stop playing us." Like we all know. Every pregnant lady fan was like, who's ever been pregnant was like, "Come on, girl, don't try to play me." I see you not drinking, girl. Don't try to play me. We always drink at these brunches. What are you doing? Yeah.
Champagne glass.
Champagne flute of just water. uh, but yeah, and so yeah, Franklin Richards. Uh, I think it'd be cool if they did a twist and it was Valeria. Like if they just kind of switched up the order, because Valeria is kind of
She's
really
more
an
interesting as a
interesting
character to me.
character.
Yeah.
She has grown into such a much more interesting character because of the Doom stuff and
It's not
like
even
all of that.
close.
Like it's not even close. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Franklin's cool. I'd be cool with the twist either way. If they twist it into a girl and like it is Valeria, in it would also make sense if they just compile the two characters into one and like in some kind of other reality, Doom knows who
Valerclin.
this is. What's that?
Valerclin.
Yeah, Valerclin. but she has his powers, but like there is some
Veneria.
connection to Doom in some other reality, like she was Doom's kid or something like that. You know what I mean? And that would kind of be an interesting, compelling kind of thing to throw
Smush
in
them.
there. Yeah.
Smush them together.
So it'd be like a daddy war for their daughter. That'd be kind of nuts. That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, there's that coming around the bend. Yeah,
My
interesting
question
things
is
they're doing
like
with the
Galactus
characters.
versus Doom. Now I was trying to get to the bottom of this, like why this is happening. But for me, wouldn't it just be to, obviously like separate itself from the Avengers project?
Well, it's that, and he was talking. Matt Shackman, the director, was talking about how they've done Doom in the other films, right? So he was like,
Right.
"Well, first of all, like we've done Doom, yeah. Second of all, Doom's going to be this big thing." But he was like, he says interesting things about why, and Pedro Pascal chimes in about Galactus being this whole being that blows Reed's whole entire concept of time, space, and like what the nature of cosmic status is, and
Mm,
being a problem he may not be able to solve. And I
right.
think that
Okay.
is more compelling because in this first film we don't necessarily want to take the space to give the villain like a whole bunch of screen time. And don't take this the wrong way. Like Galactus is a presence and like a force of nature. He's not like somebody who we're going to sit with like a 2-minute monologue with, right?
Yeah.
So he's just a physical, living, massive problem. But what's interesting about him is in those original comics is he is what he does to Reed. Like this concept of Reed beginning to spiral about something he can't solve. And him feeling like the entire literal world's survival is on his shoulders. And either him not being able to come up with a solution or having to come up with a solution that's so, like the ultimate nullifier or something like that, that's so potentially disastrous. That's like, it's the Oppenheimer thing. Should we even
Yeah.
roll this out? So I think that sciencey, wyancy kind of thing, part of it is what is compelling. And Galactus makes you turn because he's outside and he's just coming, right? But like what happens in the room between you and your family and these other dynamics as people are reacting to this natural disaster type thing happening is what I think will be compelling.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, honestly, of the Silver Surfer needs more of the time and development. If you're going to give screen time and like let someone have kind of a chance to talk and like get to know them a little bit, Silver Surfer is that to me more than Galactus, right? You can get away with, to me, very surface interactions with Galactus because it's kind of this awe in presence thing that does so much. You even see the shadow of the helmet and all that, right? And how tall he's, like, that does so much. Just seeing that, especially since we've had a cloud and that didn't work before, right? The bar's low. Now I will defend the first try at Silver Surfer though, because that was great. I'm sorry, that was the best part of the movie.
Doug Jones, Lawrence Fishburne.
That was great. Like, oh my god, even the effects pretty good. Like, they did a really good job. So, you know, this one I feel like she will need time a little bit more than Galactus, and you can get away with that if you have something like Galactus. And I also, I mean, it does kind of suck that at this point they've done the two premier, like Annihilus is like the other one that comes to mind of, like, you know, those are like the three main Fantastic Four villains, right? Like, you've already done
Mole Man. You're just counting out Mole Man?
Yes. I love Mole Man.
No, I know. I'm just messing around.
I'm just saying, like, those are kind of the three like heaviest threats, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, Franklin ends up being kind of a threat anyway.
I have so much to learn, y'all. I do not know who Mole Man is. Like, you guys,
you met the ultimate version.
Oh yeah, the ultimate Mole Man and Ultimate Spider-Man, when he was the guy who got them out of the Savage Land with his little mole people that they slaughtered. Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody needs to remember Mole Man. He's such a 1960s type of. I mean, I don't even know if you can call him Mole Man.
I feel like I'm turning into a little bit of a knowledgeable comic book reader.
There it is. You don't even know the knowledge you possess.
Get a little tear out of my eye.
but yeah, I think this was a smart move. And I think this was probably the best. Also, too, you know, there's a little bit of that. People are excited to see. I mean, they've been talking about practical effects. They've been talking about, they made a costume and a thing for Galactus. Like, they are really trying to do that right this time. And so there's a little bit of a make good aspect to it too. It feels like, right? Like, we're gonna come out, we're gonna do this Fantastic Four movie. This is the fourth go around. I mean, you know, yes, you count I count like that one Fantastic Four era, but it was still two movies, right? So like, this is now your fourth time doing the Fantastic Four, and it really feels like they're putting the best foot forward. They're getting me more excited for this.
They're also doing a lot of very careful 3-card Monty sleight of hand here. We have not seen Johnny flame on, and we have not seen Reed stretch.
I thought we saw one glimpse of him on fire.
No, when he jumps off the balcony and it's in the distance and all that. But
okay, all right, yeah.
We have not seen what it looks like if Johnny flies up to them on fire and has a conversation. Like, we have not seen that. And we have not seen when Reed stretches.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So they're doing very careful rollout on this. But it's good. It's good to see, like, full-fledged Marvel PR. Like, the posters are art. They're getting artists to do, like, they're doing real PR and building this movie. So that's all I'm going to leave it at. I'm not going to get so dour.
Cool. I'm excited to get into these
let's
shows.
Take a slight break and talk about TV and comics when we get back.
Heck yes.
Oof, I'm of the age that I had to get my seating pad. All right. So now that I have my seating pad, I am truly in a position to podcast. Okay. Let's talk about the White Lotus, season 3 finale. I'm not going to hold you all on this. I have some issues with the White Lotus this season. I have some issues with Mike White. There were some. This season was, I don't know, man. It was really cynical to me. Like, this was a very, very cynical season, and it just kind of felt like it had a mean edge to it. It's like the point that in our days and times, nobody has any real spiritual underpinning left, I guess, is Mike White's point. Like, thanks. I don't agree with you at all, but like, sure. Maybe you need to just stop hanging out in weird hotels with Hollywood people. You'll feel better, I guess. Like, I don't know. But it was like so just like nobody was good in this. Like, I came away just like disliking all of these people, like, and feeling like, is there like who I thought he would say that there was one person or one character or one way of being that was like, oh, there we can grasp onto as like a moral, spiritual guidance point. But I watched the after episode interview and that pissed me. I had to like click that off because he even throws the Indian woman under the bus. Like, go watch that after episode interview. He's like, and we see that if she had just taken the time for Rick, everything would have been okay. And I'm like, that's your takeaway? That this brown lady who tried to spend the whole season talking to this man and getting his soul right, because she couldn't take the time when he finally runs up on her and just like,
Right.
do it now. And she's like, oh, I'm here for you, but I have to, see this other person first. Because she doesn't stop, you're saying she
He
caused
had
this
to acknowledge
calamity?
that, because that was the
What's that?
first thing I said at the end of the episode. I was like, "Man, think about it if she just would have, like, taken him, and been like, 'Okay, let's talk for a minute.'"
Yeah,
Although it's
but
wrong,
like,
I
Yeah, I
agree
was
with
gonna say,
you,
but that's not her job. I
but
mean, it
that's
it's
is
not
her
her
job,
job.
but like
said.
that's not her life.
I
Like, she
know, I
shouldn't be
Yeah,
know,
beholden to this one guy who can't get his crap together.
but it did
yeah.
go through my mind, and I didn't even watch that interview, and it's funny that you say that.
No, but that's how it works, man. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
get it. I don't want to get into the deeper
Like,
things that
since
Mike White is
when did
touching on in this. There's a
White
whole
Lotus
lot of
White Lotus isn't supposed to be Black Mirror. No.
yeah, no,
It's
right?
just so
But it
sad.
is.
The
But
whole
like,
thing was just
yeah,
terrible.
exactly. And it's just like nobody. I was just like nobody came out of this good. Like, we're all
Yes,
just spiritually
Brightwood.
bankrupt. And I was just like, thanks, Mike White.
Yes, yes.
Even
It was
Belinda, because people are
depressing.
like cheering for her. I'm like, she just did the cycle of trauma and violence that would happen to her in season 1 to this poor guy on the beach. Like, that's
Exactly.
not.
That's what my husband kept obsessing on. He was, like, so upset about that part.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and she's just sailing off with the money. It is just like, dude, like, this is so like, yeah. Oh man, I don't know. They, yeah.
I still enjoyed it. Like, I will say this, I did enjoy it, but it is really interesting, and I'm glad I'm not the only one to, like, see all of the feedback and that people really are frustrated with they just people did not like this finale, and that's,
I think
surprising
it's.
be
I'm not going to say it
because
was
all the other
bad
ones
because it
they
was
had.
very well done, very well
Very well
shot.
done, yeah.
Everything came together. There was like the whole twist with his Scott Glenn and the dad being his
The
dad, which I saw
dad,
coming,
yeah.
but like, yeah, when he
If
Oh my
said,
god,
if
"Oh,
you
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 saw
didn't
see
it?
it
I
know."
didn't
coming from a mile away, is it a twist then? It's
I
not a twist.
didn't see
Well, no,
it.
it wasn't a mile because when he said, "Oh, your mom lied to you and your dad was like a bastard and all that," I was like, he's talking about himself. Like, clearly, he's talking about himself.
Yeah, because like people have been saying that for like 3 weeks, like just
Yeah.
waiting
God,
for
I
like
love that
that reveal, and then it's like, oh, he's the okay.
I don't read anything on the internet, and I'm so glad I don't because I was completely shocked. Like,
Okay.
truly, I was shocked.
I'm not even that heavily invested in the show.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I'm just
oh,
so
if
good
all
at
I saw was Rich. I was like,
I'm
okay, yeah,
telling you,
I'm involved
my
with it.
my algorithm does not spoil for me. It is fantastic. I have just
No,
like
it's good.
baby videos, like how to, get your baby crawling, and it's so great. Like,
But
When
yeah,
does the baby do the bum shuffle like in Bluey?
yeah.
and even Carrie Coon's character, Lori, I think the funniest meme that came out of this whole thing was like after that whole speech to her girlfriends, when that shooting started, like, and she just books, she just takes off, and like that's now the funniest gif I see. Shout out to Carrie Coon, who can seriously book it too. She's got that Tom Cruise running thing down. She was hauling ass out of there in those flip flops. But like even she just runs off and leaves her friends like in just in a split second, and it's just like,
You girl
oh
would be
man.
doing the same thing. I would be out. Why were those girls just standing there? Like,
Every girl I'm friends with, the first to say that, like just to every
oh,
like from Allison to various
everyone
girls I'm
knows.
friends with this
All
week.
of my girlfriends know if you're puking in the bathroom, I am not the one holding the hair. I am not the one. Like, if you're like, hey, I'm going home with this guy, I'm like, have fun. Like, I am not the one. I am not the one. I am you handle your stuff. I'll handle my.
I
You
have
sound
been
just like
that
you
friend.
sound like I should just call down some stairs to my wife. You sound just like Allison. Jesus Christ.
I
I
have been
love
that friend.
that.
I have
That's
been
why we're
that friend
friends.
right there next to
What?
the just moral
I'm a
support.
hair holder. I'm a casual hair holder. I see strangers. I'll be like, girl, you cool? Yo, you need a hair? Oh, because
I don't
I'll be
love
still
it.
partying. Yeah, no,
I
it doesn't
don't love
bother
it
me. I have
because
a mom that
you
was
know.
I had a mom. I have a mom that was a nurse, is a nurse, and
Oh
yeah.
yeah, okay. Oh, you're like Anissa
So
then.
yeah,
Anissa's like doesn't bother her. I mean, look, she's in
body
healthcare,
stuff
right?
doesn't bother. Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
doesn't
doesn't
bother
bother
her,
me.
and I'm like,
I'm
oh,
just
don't say
like,
that word. It's weird.
I got traumatized by my mom being like, "This is all fine," and I was like, "Ah," like as a
You
kid, and then
need one of those
eventually,
in the
yeah.
family, though,
Oh yeah, you definitely do.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh
if I
yeah.
can't be it, okay, I'm glad she is because, like,
If
yeah,
my
she doesn't
mom
have
saw
any
somebody
issues.
bleeding out from
Oh
their
man, we're
leg, like
screwed.
she'd have no problem like scrubbing up and be like, "Hold on," and shove her hands in their leg and be grabbing their artery and like holding it together. Like, yeah, my
Maybe you
mom's not.
guys will
Shout out to my
meet
mom.
someone along the way, Janelle, that can like serve this role.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
you
We're
need that
moving my
friend.
parents to Nashville. It's fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah, you need that friend that's gonna manage the bachelorette party. You know what I mean? Keep the itinerary tight. You need that friend. Everybody needs that
Yeah.
friend. Yeah, the
But
itinerary
yeah,
friend.
this finale, I would say, like, I think I enjoyed it more than a lot of people on the internet. And I really loved this season. I know we talked earlier about, earlier in our season about the incest thing, and like that threw me, and I'm still not into that at all. But I actually really enjoyed this season. I
But
loved the
I,
location.
the thing about it that I will give credit for, because that was so like what the f, but this episode made that so sad. Like it made it so
Yeah,
sad for
yeah.
both brothers because you realize I don't ever want to see that episode again, but like you realize that there is like an actual point to that. Like what he says, like
He's a
I'm because
people
he keep
pleaser.
yeah, I'm a people pleaser, and I saw you sitting over there so alone, and like that is so sad because the brother had been posturing himself as being like the man this whole season, but he is so alone. He gets rejected by every girl. He doesn't get any like really, and like his poor little brother who just wants to like worship him. It becomes this like gross, twisted thing, and it's just like it's so sad. It just made me when he said that, like my heart just was like,
I
oh
know.
baby boy,
Ugh.
like there's not enough therapy in the world. Like, I'm just in dad age now. I was just like, again, I sounded like my mom. Oh man. I was just like, oh my god, his psychiatric health is so not good. Like, oh boy, he needs a lot of help. But yeah, so we're all frustrated. Thanks, Mike White. Now to something that's gonna save our souls. Black
Oh
Mirror.
my god, dude.
Oh man.
We
Yeah.
were
Shout
talking
out to
about
Patrick.
this.
Yo, we said that Patrick
Don't
Schwarzenegger,
freak
nobody
out.
should throw dirt on his name anymore. That kid has earned his place as an actor, and I actually would look forward to seeing him star and stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about that. But Black Mirror, I watched the first two episodes, and between White Lotus and this, like I'm about to just fold it on humanity. Like, my God, like not an uplifting thing in sight. The first
Nope.
episode, Rashida Jones and Pete Dowd. Yo,
Really awesome cast in this first episode. Holy
get that
smokes.
LeBron in a suit gif out because that's how I'm going into my next cell phone contract negotiation. I'm going up on Verizon like, yeah, we going Suits LA on that whole thing because this episode freaked me out about that whole thing. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Sorry, Janelle.
It's okay. Listen,
Matt, did you
we
watch
talked about
this?
we were talking about
No.
this at the beginning. Wait, what, Matt, have you watched it?
No, my internet's been down for like almost a
Oh,
day
Are
that's
you
right.
now.
are you going
So
to watch
I didn't
it?
get to
Is
watch
this
this one.
your jam? Like, do you watch Black
I
Mirror?
like Black Mirror.
Okay. This
But
is like
I
my number
it's
one
not
love
like
to
the show
hate
I
show.
seek out. to watch. Like I watch it because like I always find it compelling,
It's
even
just
if it's
so
like a little bit,
good.
like I don't leave a lot of Black Mirror episodes feeling great, right? So it's not something
Never.
like yeah, it's one of those. But feel free
Literal
to
never.
spoil and stuff. That's fine. Don't bother me.
Oh my god, is that Doctor Who? Oh my god, I did not
Peter
realize that he
Capaldi.
was. Yes, I did
Yeah.
not know Capaldi was in there. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm so excited to get to the video game episode. I've only watched episode 1. But this show is just so brilliant. It's so well done. It's such a black mirror on everything that we're living. It just shines this light on crazy issues, and I just feel like it's one of those things where everyone has to, like, everyone should watch it, and they should like live in deep reflection, kind of like everyone should also do yoga because it's good for you, and I feel like it should be like mandatory that everyone goes to yoga. But it's not going to make, maybe it won't make you the best person, like, it'll make you sad and upset and you won't be able to sleep. Like me last night, I did not sleep at all, but I feel like it has to be watched. Like, you have to watch it.
I hope your streams never get so extreme. Hey.
Oh, they won't.
Oh,
I'm
this
not.
one was
yoga.
crazy.
No bunny
This-
mask for me.
This second episode, Beta Noir, I tried to watch it last night, but there's heavily English accents. I was like, I can't. I had to wake up this morning, but this episode's crazy. This one is so crazy. Like,
I'm
ladies,
so
this
nervous
one's for
about
you. That
episode
second
2.
episode is for you. If you've ever had conflict with another girl like that, this episode takes that concept
Oh,
really crazy.
God.
So,
I'm scared.
anyway, so that's Black Mirror. Let's move on to some things because we got to still work our way through this. But shout out to Tracy Ellis Ross in that first episode for being hilarious. She is crazy.
She's
Like
great.
the things they
So
have
many
her
things.
saying with like a straight face in that episode because she plays the executive at the, quote unquote, it's an extreme version of a cell phone company basically, but it's for an upload to repair somebody's brain damaged mind. And the tears and the things they start doing with that, which Rashida Jones' character is insane when it comes to like ads and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty insane. But yeah, Tracy S. Ross is great in that. All right. I saw 2 movies this week, if you can believe it. We're not going to take too much time because I'm the only one who saw it. So this is basically a yay or nay on recommendations here. And to be honest, both of these you could probably do streaming, but I know there are a lot of people, military related people, who are going to be having a lot of questions about one of these films. So I figured we should get into it. The first movie I saw was Drop, the new film from director Christopher Landon, starring Megan Faye from season 2 of White Lotus, who became a big breakout star in that season, playing Theo Russell's hot wife and, that whole thing that they had with that weird open relationship stuff. But she plays a woman who's trying to get over a traumatic past, going on her first date in a while with, handsome dude from the Blake Lively movie. I forget his name. He's also in that Yellowstone spinoff.
Not
19.
Baldoni.
Yeah, no, not him.
The other one.
Yeah, the one people like, who's actually a good guy in real life. And he's in 1923, that Harrison Ford Yellowstone spinoff. He's an important part of that show. So she plays the girl. She going on a film. She gets to this nice restaurant, and then the key, of course, is cell phones and smartphone messaging, and she starts to get these airdrops that basically want her to be an assassin and kill this guy she's on a date with for reasons. So this is a B movie, single setting, mystery thriller, and it's pretty good. Christopher Landon, if you don't know, is the guy who directed the Happy Death Day series, Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2, which were also surprisingly good B movie concepts like that you've seen before, but he does in very kind of like fun, refreshing ways. Like Happy Death Day is just Groundhog's Day and a slasher film mixed together. But it becomes a deeper story about this girl losing her mom and the trauma of that, and going to college and wilding out, and how she has to find something better to do with her life, right? So this is a story about a woman trying to get over trauma while trying to get out of this situation. And it's really well done. I mean, it's just in the restaurant. There's just kind of a lot of funny little characters, from a waiter to a bartender to like various people she meets in the restaurant along the way. But it's very well done as a B movie and as a thriller, from kind of the pacing to start to finish. There's even a good twist in it or two that you don't see coming. And yeah, Megan Faye is really a star. I mean, there was a reason she was such a hit on White Lotus, but camera loves her. She could do a lot of acting. I mean, and this role does require her to be like sitting there panicking, losing her mind, having anxiety, crying, like trying to hold it together in front of a date, like trying to still be presentable and pretty, and like all of that stuff, that situational anxiety that it's really playing on. So, um, pretty good B movie thriller, great matinee, I would say. Like if you want to see like, and even a great date movie, because there is, I think the key to this is it's kind of like they steal from Speed. It's a high pressure situation, but somehow there's also this cute rom-com thing happening in the middle of it between two people. So Brandon Sklaner is the guy. And so their dynamic and their chemistry on the date is actually really cute. And so it works somehow. Like it is a cute date, and it's also a very high stakes kind of chess game that's
Oh.
happening. So it's a good date movie, funny enough. So there you go. And it uses airdrops in something that can freak us out in real life, because I'm sure ladies have had to deal with this in public spaces more than once, right? Unsolicited kind of weird messages, drops, things like that is a definite new form of harassment that we've put on the books. Yay! So plays on a lot of good things. And Christopher Landon's just, I mean, him and Blumhouse are just, I mean, what do they even cost to make? This cost $11 million to make. So,
And how much do we know what it's going to make?
no, I mean, it's just hitting theaters now, but it's easy to recoup that. That's such a low cost for,
Yeah.
and it looks like a high budget movie.
It
It looks
does.
like, yeah. So, and it's just all in one restaurant and like a house. So that's it. All right. So I would check that out. The other movie is Warfare. Warfare is the new film from Alex Garland, who we know who's really kind of stuck on this American, kind of militarized end of America, because he just did Civil War last year, that crazy kind of movie imagining America collapsing into actual civil war. And this one is with he partnered with a real life veteran named Ray Mendoza, who served who served overseas in the Iraq War, and he was part of a Navy SEAL squad who got pinned down in a village. I don't want to butcher, in what was called the Battle of Ramadi in 2006. He and his squad were pinned down in this corner of a town where insurgent forces began to surround their position and their building they were in. And I don't want to spoil too much, but because of situations and dangerous situations, they can't get their normal evac to get them out of here. So it's about what happens to kind of get them out of this situation. But the difference with Warfare is Warfare had Ray Mendoza, the actual veteran, and the people in his squad, the surviving veterans in his squad, kind of come together with Alex Garland to make a movie that is basically simulating real life combat and combat tactics. So I'll say what I said to the publicist, because I want to be very careful and measured in what I'm saying here. This movie is an excellent cinematic exercise in showing people what it is to truly be in this modern form of urban combat in the Middle East, from how the soldiers treat each other to the tactics they use to every kind of command, movement, how they move, what they do, what they don't do. It's not at all an action movie. Like, guys don't run out and start spraying bullets and doing all this and scream, it's very much realistic. At the same time, that makes it less of a movie than it is almost like an military instructional video or dramatic reenactment video, because there's not so much they can tell you about the story. You don't get to know any of these guys very much.
Right.
You don't get to know anything about the larger context of this situation very much. There isn't like cuts to scenes of their wives at home or anything like that. It's straight up, we're in this building on this day doing our patrol. Things go wrong. We have to move. Cameras on us the whole time, very guerrilla style over our shoulders. And we've got to get out of here. And it's from start to finish the hour or so that it took for them to get out of the situation and how bad it got. So
I watched this trailer. It is like really intense. And
yeah,
also
and
from like an actual veteran, was it director or writer? I can't remember.
he did both. He
Wow.
Oh,
was a
wow.
veteran, but Garland was the writer director too. So Ray
Okay.
Mendoza provided all the real life accounts because he is one of the main characters in the story,
Yeah.
in the film. And Garland just put the cinematic part, translated it into cinema form. But yeah, he was like, they show you at the end, like all those guys were on, the real veterans came back, they're on set. I think they're over in the Middle East somewhere, and they like went back and they like filmed this whole thing. And it is actually
Wow.
what happened and how they had to move and all the real kind of showing you real military tactics for like what
I'm glad
happens
they
in
show
situations.
this. Like, I'm glad things like this exist, even though it's not something that I'm into. I'm glad it exists because I feel like with a lot of games like Call of Duty and stuff, the reality of how horrible
Right.
this is just like glossed over. Like people don't realize like
Yeah.
what these guys go through
Absolutely.
So
and how
Will
intense it
Poulter,
is.
and I'll tell you this part of it. Will Poulter plays the captain, and there's the entire subplot. One of the subplots of the film is he doesn't get hit by enemy fire, but because of the amount of gunfire, grenades, and this thing you see with the planes, what they call a show of force, which is when they have the jets fly low and break the sound barrier, and then that sonic boom basically rattles everything in the vicinity underneath the jet, like on the street. So if they want a way to scatter the enemy or startle the enemy when they're getting overrun, they have the jets fly down, they brace, the enemy doesn't know it's coming, the jet hits, the sound barrier breaks, and the enemy gets so screwed up and discombobulated for a moment, right? But that doesn't mean it doesn't affect the soldiers. So, like, one whole subplot is this is how many times, the captain, quote unquote, gets his bell rung, Will Poulter's character, till he finally has to say to another officer, like, you're going to have to take over because I can't cognitively function anymore. I've taken too many concussions or like whatever has happened from just
Wow.
the effects of the battle. And yeah, you begin to notice that, and it's like, oh, right. Yeah, there isn't no Call of Duty warrior stuff in this. It's like if somebody gets hurt, the mechanics to physically move, to stabilize that bleeding, mangled body. First of all, even believe that person's still alive and have to kind of like commit to that and stabilize them if they're conscious or not. You have to get them to an evac. This is an inescapable situation. They are physical weight. It's a ticking clock. Like, how do you move them? How do you band together and cover yourself? And when you're in a building that is all of this, it's a tense watch, and it's not like it doesn't make you want to go out and enlist. I'll tell you that much. Like, that's, I think, kind of the point to
Wow.
this is to show kids, like, you think this is all fun in this fantasy, but like, here's what it is. And even if you do, like, you don't come out of it okay, because even if you are well armed, well armored, all of that, like the effects of this and warfare and explosions and all of that to the physical toll to the human body is significant. And so, like, yeah. So it's an interesting film, but it's an interesting kind of cinematic exercise. I said, like, but it isn't like a story. You know what I mean? Like, even at the end when they show you side by sides of the actors, I think they show you Mendoza and one other guy who participated openly in helping to instruct on the film. The rest of those guys' faces, they blur out because, like, I think they're either active or so deep, like, espionage and Navy SEAL land that, like, yeah, they can't even, like, show you who these people are and, like, where they are. So it's making a very serious point about what the commitments are of this service, um, what the costs are, and why you have this kind of, and it does successfully, why there is this kind of trauma bond between these group of men you've done this with that is unbreakable in for various reasons. So interesting movie. Um,
Wow. I want to see that actually.
yeah,
Like
interesting
that's
movie.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I feel like stuff like this, obviously, and the Pit, kind of on the medical side, have been doing a lot of like really interesting things as far as like really painting a complete picture of what those environments are. And
Yeah.
I think there's just been a lot of that. I need to start watching that, and like I then got sucked in. I was like, oh my god, like this is a lot, right? But it really paints that, to me, like as close to reality picture without physically doing it or physically being there. And as Janelle said, I think it's important to have
Yeah.
those still.
There's a couple people in this. Our boy Joseph Quinn, Human Torch, is in this. He has a
Yeah.
big role. He's like a second in command. The sniper, it took me a while. I was like, why do I know that sniper guy? It's our boy from Shogun. It's Blackthorn from Shogun is the
Oh.
sniper that you see. And who's the other guy who's in this? I'm trying to think. It's Will Poulter. Is that guy? Is that guy? There's somebody else in this that was like interesting to watch and see because they're kind of coming up on some bigger stardom. Anyway, I can't think of it right now, but yeah, there's a couple people. There's some. Oh, it's our boy Daniel from Daredevil Born Again is in this. He has a pretty significant role. He's a
Oh
sergeant
wow.
in this. Like, yeah,
Boy, he is.
Tom Sergeant.
He's
Yeah, he's all over the place. Gandolfini. Yeah, he's doing his thing.
all.
So Gandolfini's in this too. So like, yeah, there's a couple faces we know. All right, let's talk comics real quick because you never know. I know we're getting into Janelle's red line zone. So let's talk, guys.
Oh, is this the grenade? Is this the grenade?
So we've been championing for a year here on Ultimate Spider-Man, right? As the thing Marvel screwed up not giving us for so long. Marvel's trying to relaunch Amazing Spider-Man. We're going back to a number 1. It's supposed to be a, dare I say it, brand new day for Peter Parker. What did you guys think? I am highly curious. Janelle, I want to start with you, if that's okay. Matt, I would love to start with
God.
Janelle. I'm so curious.
The pressure. Oh God, do I like tell the truth?
Yes. Tell the truth.
Yes, tell the truth.
It was
Pod away.
Okay, it was too long, and I just don't feel emotionally connected to anyone in this. I don't feel it. I don't have maybe it's because I feel like I don't have that background of knowing everyone. Like, who is Brian? I don't know who is Brian, the guy that got him the job? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Who is that?
There's not much. There's actually not much there, so you're okay.
Okay, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel emotionally really attached to any of it or excited about much. Yes, Bri, I went in with you. Way too many text bubbles. You guys already know. If there's too many, I'm like, no thanks. I'm just not really impressed with this one, and that's unfortunate because I was really looking forward to it. So yeah, I obviously I try to go in a little bit more like open-minded because it's a learning process for me, but I'm not super pumped about it so far overall. There are moments, right?
Yeah.
Like the Rhino exchange, like him saving Rhino, like I loved that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to hold you either. All this book told me was, you should have put Pepe on Spider-Man a long time ago.
Oh, man. Gorgeous.
That was about it. That's all I got to say about this book. You should have put Pepe on Spider-Man a long time ago. It's clear. It's obvious that, this man was born to draw this world of Peter Parker and all that. Other than that, I think mainline Spider-Man is cooked. I think they need to kill him off. Like, I think mainline Spider-Man is so cooked. I think the last 10 years have ruined mainline Spider-Man, and I don't know if we're digging out of that. If this is what you think is a jumping on point, you're crazy. Like, I don't recognize this Aunt May. I haven't read mainline Spider-Man in so long. I don't know who this Aunt May, are you trying to make silver-haired MILF Aunt May? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know this Aunt May. This Peter goes to a gathering with his friends, and I don't know any of these people. I know Robertson is obviously a Robertson, but
Oh,
like,
thank God. I thought it
and
was
it's like,
just me.
but I don't know because I haven't read any of these mainline comics. Like they reference, there's so many trying to like exposition rush us through like what Peter's been going through. But like, if you haven't been reading, like, it's like slow down on some of this. Like, what do you mean? He had his own foundation or whatever. He screwed that up. Like, none of this. It sounds just like a bunch of compressed history. And if anything, it makes me feel like you just kind of evidencing to people, like, yeah, you've been on some BS for like the last 5 to 10, and none of it has really stuck. Like, the most compelling thing in this is a start for Norman Osborn and them copying basically Williamson and the whole Superman Lex Luthor thing that they're doing over there. Like there's nothing here except Pepe Larraz's awesome art, like being the reason to keep turning the pages of this book. But like even the mystery, we don't even get anything compelling about the mystery at the core of the story. It's just like Spider-Man starts to freak out on some scarecrow stuff at the end, and it's like, okay, am I supposed to be excited? Is that going to be somebody cool, or is it going to be that weird guy with the kind of centipedes again coming back, or some other random villain I don't care about? So yeah, this isn't a jumping on point. And when you hold it up to Ultimate Spider-Man, like this is laughable, man. Like this is laughable. Like there's nothing at the heart of this Peter Parker. Like what's his thing? He screwed up. This story basically says Marvel screwed up so many Peter Parker stories that we can't even find a place to fit Peter Parker anymore. It doesn't, that isn't burdened by an obvious amount of absurd history. Like, dude just trying to get a job, and it's like, yeah, we seen your backstory, homie. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Okay, so that part I dug. So I thought I was going to be the negative one here, but I'm going to be the I got to
Mr.
switch gears.
Negative.
I got to switch gears because, like, wow, I got to bring some positivity. Okay, because for the most part, let's be clear, I agree with both of you, on so many points. So we're all standing there. But I will say that opening sequence, I did chuckle. Like
It was meta. It was funny.
Joe Kelly knows how to write comedic dialogue. He knows how to hit stuff, right? So I dug that, especially the stuff about Parker Industries, because like I'm a huge fan of Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. I know that's like, controversial if you start talking amongst a bunch of comic nerds what like Spider-Man runs are, and I love Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. So like pulling stuff from there is funny. I lost so much money on that. I gotta giggle over that, right? Like there's stuff, and I agree with Janelle. Like the Rhino fight, that sounded about as close to traditional quintessential quippy Spidey. But it mostly just looked beautiful. Pepe's art is fantastic. Marde Garcia's art, or his colors are. There's a couple splash pages in this that are just stunning. I mean, they look beautiful. I haven't been this like kind of like, oh, I thought that combo would work so well since Chris Bacalo had the run that he had on Spidey. So it works really well. This book feels incredibly safe, and that was the most thing I came away from, of like, it feels it, we're bringing back, we're going to get spoilers here, right? We're bringing back Hobgoblin. Okay. Like he's going to be a major factor here. Right. We're dealing with like just that and leaning into that, the Norman Osborn thing. I have believed that they've done a much better job as far as like taking a villain and showing different dimensions of him in a new way with Lex Luthor over in Superman, compared to a run that has been twice as long with Norman and him actually becoming a hero and all that stuff that they've had him go through in this time. I just think they've done a better job of that dynamic with Lex over in DC. So that is like, okay, like that kind of falls flat for me. I did get a kick of the House Husbands of Nova Scotia line from May that did make me chuckle. Again, there's some funny moments here, but I will agree with you, as if someone is coming to Spidey for the first time in a while, this book is is a little all over the place because you're introducing characters, you're introducing concepts, you're moving through a lot of history to try and kind of get someone new or a lapsed fan on board. And it's like it's almost too much information for for a new fan, and it's not enough information for a lapsed fan. Like there's a weird middle ground, a balance that you have to strike, and this one didn't strike either one.
Somebody said it. Oh, Brywood, superfan Brywood said it in the comments too. Like it's also falling between the middle ground of this is not for kids. It's
Right.
not for a younger reader, and it's definitely not for an older reader. So like it's kind of the question of who is this for? And
Right.
I'm not sure.
Agreed.
Well, we'll see how it develops. This was a jumping on. This you got. I mean, this is one you might have just be a first issue where you had to clear a lot of mess. Maybe we get a more streamlined story. We got 2 goblins potentially lined up. There's promising things we could see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
there's just
it's okay.
Yeah, it just doesn't hold a torch to what's going on in Ultimate, and that's kind of and that's you got to know that that's coming.
Not even close.
All right, Janelle, you cool if we talk about the next one? That's a Batman.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolute Batman number 7. This is the beginning of a kind of a new arc, and I'm digging this already. This was a crazy issue. We are escalating the darkness of this book pretty quickly in this issue. This is a spoilers. This is a story, if you can't tell from the cover, that begins to introduce one particular Batman villain back into the mix. And this one felt like an absolute version of Batman the Animated Series episode, where we kind of get an overarching story about the character who Victor Freeze is in this universe, but still kind of a fake out by the end about like kind of what's transpiring, and got some depth to this. We continue to get more depth about Bruce, his world, developments with his friends, and this kind of weird dynamic that people who are his rogues in the main universe are now like his circle of best friends in this one. And I like that because I feel like that's more of a slow burn long term. And we already getting hints like where's Harvey, like what's going on with that and all that stuff. And so Snyder's doing a good job of growing this world in steps, but keeping us on like a still kind of like episodic and kind of in our face kind of mission. And so this one introduces a nice spin on the Matches Malone mythology and that whole thing, and has some pretty harrowing artwork moments.
Visuals, man.
Yeah,
Whoa,
like
geez.
whoa, like yeah. But again, also at the heart of it, a detective story, right? Like, so beginning to investigate and do all that and kind of get into it. And where we get by the end in this whole concept of Mr. Freeze is pretty terrifying. Like, and the whole, you want to talk about good monologues this week, like that whole thing about how you mistake what like ice is and cold and
Yeah.
all of that. Like, yeah, terrifying. Like, terrifying new vision of these villains. And Snyder, man, Snyder's got some darkness in him. Like what we're getting for these villain revamps are like have been pretty excellent. Like we low key haven't like really talked about it, but like what Black Mask was without even like giving that guy anything but a kind of a mask and like a voice and a mask and just having him be this embodiment of something was pretty freaky. The Joker stuff we're already still building up in the background is nuts, and now we're getting things like this Mr. Freeze, Bane. Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot about the whole Bane thing.
Swole Bane.
Swole Bane. Yeah.
In the previews, Brywood brings it up too, and in this issue is a perfect example of this. The guest artists in the Absolute books, Absolute Wonder Woman, brings in a guest artist, and look, I mean, sometimes it's not even close to what especially when the bar is so high, right? The Absolute books have been killing it on art, so when that bar is high, sometimes it can be a step down, and not in this issue, and not in Absolute Wonder Woman. Like they've done such a good job of maintaining that quality, and also this issue does such a great job of starting to solidify the relationship between Alfred and Bruce. There's a whole thing about a cast that is hilarious in this book, because I also love too that like this Batman has been portrayed to be able to like take a ridiculous amount of punishment and keep moving forward and stuff, but he's still human, right? And so you see the lasting effects of the Black Mask battle, And you see that still play a role here. It's not just like clean sweep. Oh, he's good now. Like we have lasting effects, but the way that they take that and twist it, I think Janelle will get a huge kick out of it, because I just thought this whole little subplot thing that's happening throughout it is great. And as like Alfred, Bruce is starting to understand that Alfred always knows more than he's letting on. And Alfred also knows that like he can give all the advice in the world. Bruce is still going to do what Bruce is going to do. So they're just learning each other's, little different eccentricities. And so I think that's cool. And the Victor Free stuff is great.
The juxtaposition when those dialogue bubbles between like what one of them is saying about the other and like what the other one's actually doing is always hilarious with the Alfred stuff, because it is this thing where they are like forming a bond, but they're also like espionage spies where they're also like kind of half playing each other all the time. Like, yeah, I love that stuff. Man. I mean, that is parenting. I could tell you as I spend my days who's trying to just stay on top of a little 6-year-old Moriarty, who's always just trying to I'm not kidding. The number one thing I scream at him is, will you stop scheming all the time? So I can please not watch you like a warden. Like I gotta be like, show me what's in your pockets. No, take the scissors out and give them to me. Like, just give me the scissors and go. Like, why do I have to check you, pat you down every time you walk past me? Because you're going to do something dumb. Like, yeah. Oh my God. Get ready, Janelle, because I can already feel like that kid's gonna be like God. You. Yeah, get yours back. And like, yeah. Oh my God. It's insane. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about my trauma. Absolute Batman. The Absolute books are still killing it. Go check that out. We got stuff in Matt's Avenger. Matt's Avenger.
Matt's Avenger.
Yeah, don't ever say let's Avenger. Let's.
And if
Matt's
Janelle,
agenda.
do you need to drop, or are you good to? I'll roll through.
I'm gonna drop and watch from afar
cool.
as I check on the bubs, but I'm also gonna go read this because I was completely confused. And when I opened up the Batman book, I was like, wait a minute, this says Absolute Zero, not Absolute Batman. I'm confused. What's going on? So I will definitely be reading that.
we will get an update from you next week on that, because we have more absolute goodness. It seems like there's not a week now where we don't have some absolute book or ultimate book.
Yeah, keep them coming. Amazing.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Well, I'll catch you later.
Okay.
I'm trying to
look
and
Janelle,
see
take
real
it easy.
quick what next week is. Absolute Flash #2 is next week. And also, as a quick preview, Ultimate Wolverine #4. And then next week is also the beginning of the We Are Yesterday DC All-In event. I'm just gonna say, digging it. All right, we're gonna see. We got things to talk about. All right, so I'll move through some stuff real quick here. Marvel Rivals Season 2 is live now. Literally happened like 45 minutes before the show, right? They went live with their full update. It's been downloading.
I gotta go
in the background.
update.
Yeah, it's been downloading in the background. I am excited for this. We got since the official reveal, we now had the kind of full video trailers of the Battle Pass. These are all the costumes that you'll be able to unlock going through the season. We also kind of got more information on buffs and changes. We lost some team up attacks, but we also gained new team up attacks. Obviously, some of those center around Emma Frost. But I am stoked for this. Also, they did do a fun tie-in that you can check out all the details on Comic Book. But essentially, if you do subscribe, if you end up subscribing to Marvel Unlimited, you can't actually get a special costume for the Thing exclusive to that, which is cool. The suits, the Krakoa map looks insane from some of the people that have been able to get their hands on the new season early. And like, I mean, you can go talk to Krakoa. Like, you can actually see Krakoa himself, like, popping up on the map. Like, they've done such a good job. Like, this whole season just, again, makes me so upset that we don't have Krakoa in the main books. Anyway, it doesn't help.
Do we have some stuff to write about this? We should be writing up some stuff.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming. I've actually been wanting to put something together regarding the Krakoa, like how this is, again, it's just great to see other mediums grasp onto that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's our best chance to push the Krakoa agenda once we get these gamers on board.
Oh, and this Battle Pass, also, like, look at those classic X costumes, those 90s
Yeah,
suits.
but they still
Those are so good. I
But
love
my
this.
player is Captain America, and like they still have the lamest set of costumes for Cap. There is not one that I want to buy. Like
You don't
not
like
one.
the Infinity War? That's a great
No,
looking suit. Oh
no,
man.
it doesn't pop on screen. Like it's
Now I
muted
will
colors.
say Cap's costumes have been lagging behind. I haven't
Yeah,
liked a
they're
lot
the
of them.
worst. There's so many good ones they could go with, and they're just like we're just kind of like
It's
we
I
don't even
mean,
have like a Winter Soldier one. Like we could have had that, like the stealth suit. Like there's so many we could have had.
I
First
like the
Avenger.
suit. Now, granted, this comes
No,
from
his main one
someone.
is great. His main
Yeah,
one's great. Like I like the armored look. I like all that, but like it's just so many other people have so many great variants, and
it's
like
true.
Cap is trash.
Yeah, Crabs.
The
I
aim
also
one,
haven't liked the
the
Hulk
color,
ones
yeah,
either, but this one changes that. Like, I love this one.
yeah.
This might be
Oh,
the one to buy.
Mr. Fix It.
Yeah, that'll be the one to
Yeah.
buy.
All right.
Moving to AC Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows is out doing incredibly well sales wise. They just got a big new update, which is going to
Hi,
fix some things.
haters.
We have a lot of Assassin's Creed Shadows content on the site. Some of it I vehemently disagree disagree with. I said before earlier on, I was pretty early in the game, and I was like, this is already making a case to be one of my like top 3 Assassin's Creeds of all time. The prologue's amazing, and it makes such a great first impression. I am now about 40 hours in, right? And I opening up Yasuke and seeing more of that story and really getting a feel for like both characters and all the changes. They really do feel completely different when you play them, and all the switching back and forth. This game is like in my top 2 now. It is literally Odyssey, and then it is Shadows. It has supplanted Brotherhood, which is still an amazing game, and I kind of hope they do a remake at some point of that game, because I think that would probably maybe even move that higher up in position. But like the story in this game and the characters you meet and just the interaction, it's so well done. And the combat's so fun. I just think they've done this really, to me, restores some of the shine that the series had lost over the couple years. And that comes from someone who liked Valhalla, but I know that was divisive. This one is, I don't know, man. I don't know how someone doesn't likes Assassin's Creed and doesn't like this game. I don't get it. So I just wanted to give some shine there. Again, I'm still working my way through it. There's so much in this game, it's ridiculous. I'm 40 hours in, and I still feel like I haven't even cracked half of it. So yeah. Then real quick, wanted to move into a review on the board game side of things. For the Crown is a delightful game about warring families. You are essentially all trying to be the one who leads the kingdom. They've all been at war for years, and finally they are trying to backstab, play with influence, all those kinds of things. And you do this over the course of 4 rounds. The art is delightful. It's just like all these cute animals, but they're given kind of this. They have this really almost like, I feel like that's almost like DreamWorks animation style. And it's for 3 to 5 players, so you can actually get a group of people to play this. All of the components you can see are all the little boxes. Each of the gems and the coins and everything have their own little setup. The actual portrait board that's there allows for each turn. You can, depending on the mercenaries you recruit along the way to help your cause in becoming the king or queen, you actually can like move other people. So you're moving that thing of influence, their little portraits on the wall, and giving them extra penalties for them to lose the ability to buy more mercenaries as time goes on. The fact that it lasts 4 rounds, I think, is like the perfect sweet spot. It's just enough, right? You get to experience some of the higher ability cards because they unlock over time, but you're also, the way turns are done, like events affect everybody and they're kind of sprinkled throughout the deck as you make your way through. So it's just a really interesting turn order. I think the gameplay is to the point where it's like complex enough that you'll want to play it multiple times with different people, but not so complex that you could probably teach this if you've got, family events coming up and things where you have people that aren't necessarily super experienced board gamers. You can teach this, and after a turn or two they'll understand and they can really kind of get into the fun of it. It's about, as it has enough take that if you want to lean into that, but I played with Ember, taking some of the take that elements out of it, like the bandits there who can cost you gems, and we still had a great time. So I think it's one of those like perfect for families, and we got a lot of parents that watch the show and listen. So always trying to give you guys stuff to play with the kids and also play with the families when they're all in town, so you guys aren't just sitting there in awkward conversation. So there you go. That is my contribution there for the Crown is out right now, and it is delightful. And that's my agenda.
Right. Thank you, Matt, for Matt's agenda. Always putting people on to the goodest, most wonderfulest stuff in geek culture and tabletop. That'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. We want to thank you all for getting up and signing on to do the live show with us. You know, I was having not a lot of debate, but I was doing a talk this week, and people were like, somebody had to sit me down who was producing the podcast and was just making me realize, yeah, there are a lot of podcasts out there. There'll be a lot of podcasts who are bigger than ours, but there aren't a lot of podcasts out there who've done, what are we, 6 years, 7 years? What is this? Oh, 7 seasons?
7 seasons.
Of just doing it live, off the cuff, in front of a crowd. Like, nobody does this. Like, a lot of people produce their shows. They cut out what they want. They do this, how they want. But, we don't big ourselves up enough because we've done something very unique in this space. So I want to big us up. So big up to us. Big up to Janelle, Matt, everybody who comes on here every week. Big up to our fans who show up every week, interact, keep us on our toes, keep us honest. Don't let us get away with any just old BS we could spout off up here. So yeah. And during the COVID years, go back and listen to those. See if you can pinpoint in seasons 2 and 3. Here's a challenge, Easter egg challenge to all the real fans. If you can find in seasons 2 and 3 the points where each of us vomited during a live show stream and kept going without anybody any of the wiser, because I'm pretty sure it went around the board that everybody gets sick on camera at one point or another during this show, during a live stream. But we're true professionals, so you never knew. So shout out to us. That's a rare, I want to give us a little back pat sometimes because I'm all about positive reinforcement this week. So yeah, we are live here every week, Comic Book Nation. We talk about all things in geek culture, and we are the official podcast of comicbook.com and an excellent portal into the larger body of work that our excellent team of writers is always putting up over there. So go check that out. Have a good weekend. Check out, there's good things to watch at home. There's good things to watch in theaters. There's great games to play and great things to read, which you should absolutely still be doing, reading. So we'll see you guys next week. This is Comic Book Nation. Shout out to Janelle. Peace.
Deuces.